This video is part 1 of a 2-part training series on the VisionTech MobileCAD software. This information-packed tool is mainly meant to interact with dispatch, retrieving and sending real-time data. MobileCAD is utilized by law and fire alike to receive dispatch information, incident updates, to show status updates, to add comments into an incident as it develops, to check your times, along with other relevant data to your daily work. This video will only discuss the left side toolbar of QuicKeys. Another video will explain all the CAD forms available from the navigation menu. So let's get right into it. Before we log in, let me point out 3 very helpful fields in MobileCAD. The top left field that displays your current status can include available, on scene, etc. With one glance, you can immediately know how others are seeing your status and possibly even remind yourself. Are you on scene but still showing responding? These all translate into your times that show response rate and helpful data to illustrate how efficiently you're responding to an incident. Secondly, the bottom right field tells whether you're on an incident or not. If so, the incident number will appear here. If not, it will read no incident. Finally, the bottom center field shows your most recent activity, letting you know the information you're sending to CAD and ultimately dispatch. The login screen automatically pulls up when you click the CAD icon from the toolbar. However, if you get kicked off mid-session, you can also access it from the navigation menu, Quick Key F2. Start by realizing that fields with an asterisk are required, so make sure you enter these correctly in every time you log in. Starting at the top left and moving along the form, you come to Unit ID. This is who you are working as. This is a free text field that does not validate to anything in CAD. Or Andrea in here, that is how you would appear in CAD, both on dispatches, other units, and your screen. Next is Vehicle ID. This must exist in CAD before you can sign in with it. This is generally your car number. Next is Starting Mileage. To minimize confusion, a mask has been added to indicate that you should only enter the last 4 digits plus the 10th that appears on your odometer. Agency ID defaults to your agency and area for law agencies, but you can change the area. For example, the SO comes up as SO, but they change the area to N or S depending on north or south. Your CAD ID is your personnel ID in the database. It sometimes matches your radio ID, but this should have been assigned to you at the start of employment. Portable radio is a field that we do not use. It just came with the form, so you can ignore this. You can have a second officer if you have a ride-along, but this must also validate with CAD like Officer 1. The rider field is free text, so if a citizen or news reporter wants to do a ride-along, you should document that in this field so it gets logged into CAD. The unit equipment box is another feature we do not utilize. It allows you to change the detail you're working, but this specific nature is not logged anywhere. It's just a new feature with the 7.0 package that we do not use. The send bar will activate your login. You can also press enter to speed things up. Refresh will populate boxes with previous information used to log in on your last session. This is helpful if you get kicked off in the middle of your shift. Clear will empty all fields and make you start all over. Notice the underlined letter on each button. Pressing Alt plus that letter on your keyboard will activate that button. If MobileCAD locks up on you while sending your login, your best bet is to go back to F2, press Login again, then your Send button is rebolded and you can try sending your login again. When you successfully log in, you will hear a ding if your volume is turned up, and you will be taken back to the F2 CAD form boxes. So now that you're logged in, let's walk through the quick keys that run down your left side bar. We've already briefly touched on it, but the first quick key, F2, is the navigation menu. This takes you to the CAD forms discussed in part 2 of this training series. Consider this home base where the full features and screens of MobileCAD are accessed. Moving down, F3 through F8 are the most frequently used status changes, so we made them quick keys. You can see the full list of status changes from the status change form found on your F2 navigation menu, but we won't cover these right now. To activate the responding status change, you must be on an incident. This lets dispatch and other units know that you are responding to the incident number assigned to your unit. The next quick key is F4 on scene. You also must be on an incident to activate this status change. You can't be on scene if you're not on an incident. We realize that on scene, much like responding, may be activated while you are driving. So making them large, easy to press buttons increases your safety and keeps you from fumbling through multiple navigations to show this status. Remember, you can also press F4 from your keyboard, just like all the other quick key options. F5 cancel checks is a quick key you can press at any time, regardless if you are on an incident. This tells dispatch that they can stop doing safety checks on you. The F6 quick key activates your emergency status. This is a status if using lights and sirens while running emergency, logging this action with your unit in CAD. You must be on an incident to activate the emergency status. The system won't even let you if you're not actually linked to an incident. While we don't think this would happen, it keeps units from using lights and sirens to their advantage, like running lights and speeding without warrant. The next status change in the area can be accessed by pressing F7 from your keyboard or this quick key. This status is typically used between responding and on scene, letting dispatch know that you are in the proximity of the incident but not quite yet there. If they are on the phone with a desperate caller, seeing this status change come through the MDC can prompt them to give the caller more relief, letting them know you truly are on your way. The next quick key, F8, brings up the available status as well as the disposition form. If you are not the last unit to leave a scene, you do not need to enter a disposition. You can just press send with all the fields empty and take yourself off the incident. However, if you are the last unit to leave the scene, you must enter at least one disposition so CAD knows what all took place. Was a report taken, or was an arrest made? Normally, when you're entering a disposition, you are on an incident, so that number will appear in the top right corner. If the incident number is not in the field and you attempt to send, a dialog box will appear that says you are missing a required field, incident number. If you are the first to leave but you do enter a disposition, that disposition is logged with your unit, so do not be afraid that you're going to close the call prematurely. CAD knows when it is the last officer to leave. All the dispositions are in drop-down pick lists that are also type-ahead fields, so if you memorize the 2-letter code, start typing it and tab over once it appears on your screen. In case you are not clear on what a disposition is, it is an action taken on an incident. For example, you have an arrest, a report taken, or a civil problem ensues. It's sort of like leaving breadcrumbs. You can look back and see how the incident progressed. Only use F8 when you are leaving an incident. You can also log the location, which is not used very often. This information is logged with your unit, not the incident. So it could be helpful if you are clearing an incident that originated in Lebanon, but you're ending at a facility in Dayton. Having this location would let dispatch know that you are not in the area available for another immediate dispatch. One often used disposition that really doesn't give any information is comp completed. This goes without saying, telling the same thing that closing an incident says. There are much better disposition options that actually illustrate what happened on the call, such as arrest, criminal citation, or false alarm. So make the best choice in your dispositions to accurately portray the actions you took. If you want to add dispositions but continue to be on a call, you can log it from the Incident Update form, the next quick key, F9. With the exception of incident number, these are fields that an officer can update at any time during the incident, but most of the fields remain their original entry. If an active incident, the incident number will appear in the top right corner. The incident type normally stays what it was originally coded as, and if it changes, dispatch would be the one to change it, unless this is a field-initiated incident. For example, if a caller hangs up before all details are received, dispatch may call it a 911 hang-up, but once the officer arrives, it may be reclassified as a domestic. Changing the address will change the initial address for the call, so you don't want to do this unless the original entry was wrong. If an incident starts to involve multiple addresses, each address should have its own incident number. A good example of when the address may change is if someone reports smoke but can only tell the general area it is coming from. The officer or fire department can change it to the exact address once they arrive on scene. Regarding the Generate Report Number box, CAD automatically creates a report number for the dispatched call for the agency whose jurisdiction the incident took place, even if an outside agency is primary responder. If an officer calls in an incident or creates it from his or her MDC, the report number is created based on their unit and will be coded to the responding unit's agency. This all depends on how the incident originates, either in the field or from the communications center. This gets confusing for people after the fact, but please realize that the incident number and report number look identical, but they are very different. An incident can have multiple report numbers attached to it if multiple agencies are working together on the call. The incident number relates to the CAD incident created by dispatch or a field unit. The report number is for agency use after the incident is over for the records management system. If a field-initiated incident, CAD does not automatically create a report number, so you need to check this box yourself. Each agency can have one report attached to an incident. So if 5 sheriff's deputies are on the same incident, they each cannot create a report number. The primary officer has sole rights to creating that report number. If all 5 did it, the first one to press the Generate Report Number button will get caught by LRMS and the rest will get discarded. If you assist on an incident outside your jurisdiction and want a report, you need to request this from dispatch. They go through an extra step to make sure the report number matches your agency and the second and third digits. To make things even more confusing, the report number is called the event number in LRMS. Few officers and firefighters realize that they can update a closed incident. It is actually easier for you to do it because it is logged with your unit. By knowing the entire incident number and typing it into the incident number field, you can retrieve incident details and make changes yourself. The comments field is a field for you to add comments to the incident both during or after the incident is over. The next quick key is F10 Status Change. The new status field is a drop-down type-ahead field for every status option. Remember, the most frequently used statuses are on your quick keys F2 through F8, but the whole list for once you get into the meat of the incident are located here. This location and comments field are unit related, not tracked with the incident. It's helpful if you're out of the area and want dispatch to know you're not closely ready to respond. The only required field is New Status. The final quick key, F11, is Query Units. This is a quick way to show all units signed on from your agency, along with other pertinent information such as their flag, which you can see there are several icons that tell you whether a unit is a single person or two-person unit, and whether or not they have an MDC. The incident type they are on, their current status, their time, and minutes that the unit has actually been in their displayed status from the time you hit the Query Incident button. This data will not change on your screen unless you hit the F11 button again, as it does not live update. The location and address columns show you where they're geographically located. The address column currently wraps around, but Vision Tech is in the process of fixing this so everything is on one line. Pressing F11 is actually 4 steps rolled into one. Otherwise, you would have to press F2, choose the unit info form, enter your agency, then press send. This tool is extremely useful if you are assisting backup or are curious where your other units are and want a quick look. So there you have the 10 quick keys in MobileCAD, status changes in CAD forms most often used by officers and agencies. For further questions, please contact the CAD RMS division at 695-HELP option 3 or email the Telecom Help System at help@wcoh.net for your need to be addressed.